So this article is titled Preparing for His Many Seasons. Genesis chapter 1 verse 14 KJV. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." So God has seasons, many of them, and the Bible tells us that He has seasons so that we can be prepared. And it isn't a matter of possibly entering a season or, maybe we'll end a season, but because it will happen. And if anything, it's a matter of preparation. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 through 11 KJV. To everything there's a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. Within the past few months, God has been showing me just a tiny bit of the way He works, as He's been transitioning me through seasons. And my studying abroad, just being one of them, God has gotten my attention in a very unusual way. For example, I received news a few weeks ago, and it wasn't necessarily bad news, or wasn't really important, but it was shocking. And I had to run into the bathroom and just simply cry. And I cried because God was preparing me for a new season, a season that I knew would be coming. And I was in the bathroom for a short while, and I gathered myself, and I decided that I wanted to reach out and talk with someone from back home in America. And I decided to call a special young man in my life, who I call Kalev. And I was frustrated after trying to reach out to America because my email shut down, I couldn't make phone calls, and I barely received text messages. It seemed like everything was blocked. And at one point, Kalev was able to send a text that read, "Maybe God is trying to get your attention. Maybe He is shutting down everything so that you can cry out to Him." That made perfect sense. Why didn't I think of that on my own? But anyway, so I did. And I went back into the bathroom and I cried and cried and cried, talking to God. And I cried not because the news was bad, like I said, not because it was extremely urgent, but it's because I was informed that a new season was approaching, and I didn't feel prepared for that season to change. And I could only ask God to help me be ready. And as I cried out to Him, all I could say was, "Lord, please give me a little more time so that I can be prepared. Lord, I'm not ready. Please just give me a little more time." Acts chapter 1 verse 7 KJV. And He said unto them, "It is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in His own power." Will God give me more time? Who knows? But I need to get ready regardless. And here's another example. As I prepare for my last year in college, I find myself intimidated by the season that I am leaving and the season that is waiting for me. And I don't know what that season is, but I know there has to be one because God doesn't run out of seasons or plans for us. And so I had a dream a few months ago about my family throwing me a going away party before I left to travel abroad. And the dream was odd to me because as each individual came to my house, they each brought a baby gift. And as I saw each baby gift, I thought, why are they bringing me all this baby stuff? I'm no baby. But as the dream continued, I found myself sitting on the living room floor, similar to how I used to when I was 3 or 4 years old, playing with dolls. Not only was my house full with baby gifts, but I was sitting on the floor acting like a baby. And after the dream, I decided that I would no longer fear studying abroad or my life changing according to His will. And so last week I had another dream. And in the dream, it was the graduation day of this year's class, 2012. And as the seniors of my college crossed the stage, my school brought out a cake crowning my class, 2013, the new seniors. And so within seconds, everyone disappeared, and I was alone with the cake. I looked to my left, and there was a baby crawling towards the cake. And I looked, wondering whose baby it was. And the baby and I seemed to understand how each other was feeling, although we didn't say a word to each other. And so for the remainder of the dream, the baby and I sat in front of the cake, slowly eating the icing until there was none left covering the cake. Genesis chapter 8, verse 22 KJV. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Now, I don't like going deep into interpreting dreams unless the Lord gives me wisdom and insight. However, the two dreams that I shared seem to have a clear message. I'm fearful of the seasons before me. And as I shared before, my prayer has been, God, give me more time, when it should actually be, God, prepare me for this new season. Because we can't run and we can't hide from the seasons that await us. We must only ask that we are prepared for them. And there's a season to begin new relationships, a season to end old relationships, even a season to have physically distant relationships, which allow you to become more spiritually connected. Some seasons are temporary, while others can be permanent. Daniel chapter 2, verse 12 KJV. And He changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. Wouldn't life be boring and probably fruitless without seasons? I know I certainly wouldn't want Satan riding me for more than a season. He's annoying just for the season he gets to tempt. Luke chapter 4, verse 13 KJV. And when the devil had ended all the temptation, he departed from him for a season. God does us a favor when giving us time to prepare, even for our season of temptation. Sometimes entering a new season may make us feel discouraged, especially when things are tight and they seem to lack very little fruit, if any at all. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 KJV. And let us not be weary in doing well, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. We should know that even the heavens and the earth adore His seasons. Psalm chapter 104, verse 19 KJV. He appointed the moon for seasons, the sun knoweth his going down. The seasons of the year, they're amazing to me because they're only possible because God embedded seasonal instructions into them. Everything just truly does have a season, and they know their season. And I want everyone to be encouraged by the seasons, because by the season that He may be taking you out of, or that He may be bringing you into, because He says He knows the plans He has for us. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. And I say all of this to you as I said to myself, do not fear. Our God is a mighty God, and everything He does it with our best interests in mind. There are so many seasons, so many changes, so many blessings. Even the seasons that are storms, they still remain as blessings. Some seasons may seem more drastic than others, but just know that they are His seasons, and even the seasons that are more unexpected than the last. We just need to hold tight and know that He isn't an overbearing or overwhelming God. And I often feel that I'm not ready for a new season, but that's only because I've gotten so comfortable in the season that I was in. I was so comfortable with the old that I became intimidated and fearful for the new. We all experience the stage of uncertainty at some point, but we must be still and know that He is God. Psalm chapter 46, verse 10. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1 KJV. But of the times and of the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. And again, it isn't a matter of there being change of seasons, because the goal is that we are ready for the change, because there will be a change. There will be seasons. We must not rush the seasons. We must not try to postpone the seasons. We must merely buckle down and prepare for His many seasons, keeping in mind that obedience is better than sacrifice. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 22. If we hold fast to the seasons of the Holy Spirit, it is only that we can prepare for them decently and in order. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 40. In Matthew chapter 24, verse 32, KJV. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. Help us prepare, Lord, as we stand with our armor on, as we stand with an open mind and heart to your leading, as we stand singing songs of praise during our quiet times with you, as we cry out to you yelling, Abba, as we nervously ask for directions from you, as we recognize that the world does not have the answers, but that you do, as we fervently seek, pray, and fast to serve you in spirit and in truth. Prepare us, Lord. Even if our hearts ache in disappointment, even if our mind is foggy with confusion, even if we rant in anger, please break our flesh and prepare our spirit. Your will above our own. Amen. Psalm chapter 1, verse 3, KJV. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his seasons. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.